Alright, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is that this is the most important section, this is the most important part of the course. The bad news is this part of the course is going to require the most practice outside of, watching me on the screen, just listening to me jabber on about things. It really is going to take a lot of practice to become proficient. I mean, Linux is such a strange beast. I mean, I feel like you can go through this course and be pretty productive with Linux, basically out the gate. But I've been using Linux since the 90s, the 1990s, and I still learn new stuff every day. Every time I use Linux, it's like, oh wait, I was doing that wrong all along. So a lot of what I'm trying to share with you is the perspective that I didn't have when I was learning. And so I can't overemphasize enough that learning to use text editors well at the command line will save you so much time and headache over your career. There's so many different ways of editing text files. A lot of Linux is down to editing text files. If you've ever had to, manually piece together an application package on Mac OS, or had to, traipse around the Windows registry, dealing with insanity there, it's a little bit like that, except Linux uses the command line and text files for a lot of its configuration. Even when it doesn't use text files for configuration, usually the steps involved are to modify the text file and then tell some other program to read the text file and convert it into whatever format that you use. Some mail programs use that. Systemd kind of uses that approach, where there is still a configuration text file, and you modify the configuration text file, but the changes don't take effect immediately. Other times you'll modify a configuration text file and you'll have to restart a program that uses it. You see that pretty common with the Apache web server, like the PHP extension that runs with that. You would have to restart Apache or restart Apache and the PHP FPM service to make the changes live. There's a signal that you can send to Apache to force it to reread the configuration, but by and large, pretty much everything on Linux is powered by text files. And so there are three different text file editors that I want to talk about. And you should be proficient in at least two of them, and one of them should be on your radar. And if you're a programmer, that third one is going to be really important for you too. At least it will actually make your life easier. And I think once you learn it, you might have a little bit of an enlightenment, a little bit of an epiphany. I'm not really sure. So let's get to a terminal on our systems. So the first editor, the most basic editor, is Pico or Nano. Nano or Pico. Well, really they're the same. It just depends on which system that you're on. So we've got Debian, we've got Nano. Okay, so GNU Nano, new buffer, exit. Pico, GNU Nano. Okay, so Pico is an alias of Nano on Debian. We can see that's GNU Nano 2.7.4 new buffer, and we've got some commands here at the bottom. The little caret means control. You'll see that a lot in different places. But this is, a basic text editor. You just type, hit enter. You can use the arrow keys to move around. It's not super complicated. It is what you expect. You can do Control W, and we can search for ASD, and we can do Control W and search, and then W, and so I'm doing Control W and enter, and it's searching through the file, and it automatically will get to the end. We can see in the top right hand corner that we've got modified here. We can do Control O to write it out. So file name to write, hello world, I guess. Wrote 9 lines. You can also go to a specific line, cut text, uncut text, replace. It's a very basic editor. You should be very proficient with this right away. Now if we come over to Red Hat, Pico or Nano, it's not there. There's another editor that's installed by default on pretty much every Unix under the sun, but sometimes talk about that yet. We shall not invoke its name just yet. We can use the package manager. This time we're going to use the command line package manager. To do sudo yum install nano. And this is just like the graphical package manager. You can use the graphical package manager if you want. We're going to do yum install nano. It's not installed by default on Red Hat. Now, if in your workplace you are not the system administrator and nano's not there, you're not going to be able to install it. So you should be aware of it. It's on a lot of systems. It's not on every system. It's on a lot of systems. Now that we've installed nano, it's pretty much the same. It's a reverse color scheme, but basically identical. Terminal commands don't work in the thing. We wrote out hello world. We can see back here in the GUI that it created a hello world in our home directory. Do Control X to exit. Now, what editor does Red Hat expect you to use if you don't have Nano or Pico? It's VI. VI is actually part of, quote unquote, the Unix standard. Quote unquote, any POSIX, which is a standards body, Unix system should have the VI editor. And so there's VI. It's actually VI improved by default on Red Hat. And we can see that the version is a little bit newer on Debian, version 8.0.707 versus 7.4.160. You can see that there's some information there. It's like help sponsor Vim development, help type :help for information, :q to exit, because some of you guys may like to participate in escape rooms where you get locked in a room and you have to figure out the puzzle to get out. Exiting VI, a little bit like that. So to quit VI, it's :, I've hit :, and then we just do Q, and we're back. Do :q, and we're back. So I can do VI hello world. See, we've got an editor here. And I'm going to hit I to go into insert mode. Oh, wait, what? I to insert mode. Going to make a change. And then I'm going to do Q to quit. And then it's like, oh, I can't Q to quit. And it says add exclamation point to override. So Q exclamation point. So it won't let you quit unless you save. I didn't save. An exclamation point. Technically, the exclamation point should be read as damn it. So quit, damn it. It's old Unix joke. Old school Unix joke. It's fine. Same thing over here. There's that. So VI is an interesting critter. VI is less user friendly, I guess, for people. VI has a lot of really powerful features like syntax highlighting, search and replace, regular expression, search and replace. We're going to talk about regular expressions more later, but it's a very powerful search and replace engine. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with VI, but it's fantastically ancient. VI actually predates Linux even by quite a bit. VI, I think, goes back to the 1970s if you really want to be particular about it. So VI is incredibly powerful, and you need to learn to use it. There's the command vimtutor. So it turns out vimtutor is not installed by default. Somehow this is Khan Noonien Singh's fault. Or Skeletor, I don't know. So vimtutor is not installed. Once again, we've got to return to the well. vimtutor is part of the Vim Enhanced package. The Vim Enhanced package, let's do... Yum info will give us the info. It's like Vim is an updated blah blah blah. Install Vim Enhanced package if you'd like to use a version of the Vim editor. So it's VI improved, but enhanced, for which recently added enhancements like interpreters for the Python and Perl scripting languages. You'll also need to install the Vim Common package. So let's install Vim Enhanced. So it's sudo yum install Vim Enhanced. And we'll go over more about the command prompt stuff in a minute. So this is going to install Vim Enhanced, which needs, look, installing for dependencies, GPM libs, Vim Common, whoops, and Vim file system. So this is pretty cool. It should give you an idea that the package manager is figuring stuff out for you. So it's like, in order to install Vim Enhanced needs these other packages. I'm going to go ahead and install them. Pretty much the same thing on the Debian side of things. Now we haven't gotten to package management and using the command line package manager, so I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. apt is the name of the package manager, the command line package manager on Debian. Now we went over the Synaptic package manager, remember, from the GUI, and so you can do this through that as well. But apt is the command line, and so you get a little taste of apt here. I'm going to do apt search vimtutor. It says, looks like Vim Runtime and Vim GUI Common have vimtutor. But we don't have sudo. Sudo runs the thing as root, it runs it as elevated. So what we can do is we can install sudo as well, but we can do su, and su is different than sudo. So su will change to that user, and sudo will do the command as an elevated privilege user. So it's like su do. So su do, and then, but it's not installed by default, but you can install it, and we will install it later. But for now, we'll just use su, and then this gives me an elevated command prompt. Notice it's different. It's got the pound sign, the hashtag. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to call it a hashtag. My God, what have I become? But you can see it there. You can also see that the path changed a little bit. Instead of being Wendell at Debian, it's now /home/Wendell, because I'm running as root at Debian. So I'm no longer in my home directory. I'm in someone else's directory, because my is different now. My doesn't mean Wendell. My means root. So, because I'm the root user. Who am I? Who am I? Who is anyone? Root. You are the root of your own life. Sorry. Bad jokes, I know. It's terrible. Okay, so apt install vim runtime. So, oh, you should insert the CD. I don't want to insert the CD, but okay. Well, no, actually, I don't want to insert the CD. So let's disable that. I'm not ready to show you the apt repos.d yet. So we're going to go to settings, repositories, other software, and we're going to turn off the CD-ROM. So we got an error. The key is not in the key ring. So this is a cryptographic thing. In order to make sure that the software that you're installing is cryptographically signed by the official Debian package, they use keys to cryptographically sign the packages to make sure that what you're installing is sanctioned and blessed by the Debian people. Because it's easy to imagine someone, you know, taking control of where Debian hosts their software and replacing some legit software with some malicious software. Well, the mechanism for preventing that is public key encryption, and so you have to download the public keys that correspond to trusted private keys from people that are making the packages to prevent somebody from being able to install software without anybody noticing on one of these repositories. So I did apt install vim runtime. Notice this is not asking me for the CD this time. Again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but it's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem here where we're learning new skills and trying to get stuff done. And so it's like, I think learn by doing, having the context for, it's like, oh, I encountered this problem. How do I think about it? What's going on here? There you go. So now we got vim runtime. I'm going to exit to return to my normal user shell, because this is where you should spend most of your time. And if you're, as a normal user, you can only you can only injure yourself. You can't injure the rest of the system. At least it's more difficult to injure the rest of the system. When you're running as root, when you've got that elevated command prompt, root can do anything. And it's like, I want to, you know, hurtle myself down a flight of stairs and drop a piano on top of me. It will totally let you do that. Now, one issue that we ran into is when we run vimtutor, it's completely blank. What's going on? Well, it turns out that the bundled version of VI Improved is like a middle-of-the-road version of VI Improved. And we actually need to apt install vim as well on Debian in order to get the full VI Improved. And so now when we run vimtutor, we no longer get a blank screen. We get welcome to the vimtutor. Same over here. Welcome to the vimtutor. Version 1.7 in both cases, even though, remember, on the Debian side of things, we had a newer version of Vim. Let's, after we have updated Vim, let's just double check our versions, because it's always fun to be curious. You know, even though we've installed Vim, we can see that we're still running a newer version of Vim 7.4 on Red Hat and 8.0.707 on Debian. It's interesting. Good to know. But when we first ran vimtutor on Debian, it was blank because we installed vim runtime, which provides vimtutor, but the full VI improved package, which is not installed by default on Debian, did not include the tutorial. These are not things. I mean, you're not going to know these things intuitively or right off the bat. And this is classic why Linux is frustrating, or why a lot of people are frustrated, because you sit down to do this and it's like, okay, I'm a smart person, I can figure stuff out, it's going to be great. And then you encounter a situation like that where it's like, I'm running VimTutor and nothing is happening, there's a piece missing, and unless you've been down this road before, it's just going to seem like crazy foreign moon language. And you know, that's kind of the nature of Linux. It does what it does so well, but it's not super user, like when we say it's not super user friendly, it's a lot of the rough edges like that are not super user friendly. And for your, you know, it may actually be a feature, not a bug, because you don't want Vim runtime to have extraneous unnecessary files like the tutor file. So it might have the Vim tutor executable because of some other dependency, but it might not actually have the file that takes you through the Vim tutorial. So it sounds all very, very pedantic and very, very sort of odd. I just want to, you know, I just want to run VimTutor. I don't care. None of this other stuff really matters. I just want to be able to run VimTutor and show you stuff. So that's why a lot of people are weird and frustrated about it. But usually when you dig into it, like when you really peel back all the layers, it kind of does make sense why something was done in a strange way. And you usually learn something as well. So that's VI. Now, one of the exercises I'm going to have for you later is that you're actually going to run through the whole Vim tutorial. So let me show you a few. You just run VI, you don't have to run Vim. And so VI is like a shortcut. Remember like Pico and Nano, how those would be, there's like an alias kind of a thing? It's kind of the same thing. So you run VI and you get VI improved. Some systems will have just plain old VI, so it won't have all of the features of VI improved. It might not have syntax highlighting, you know, stuff like that. It might not have a good built-in help system, but the basic functionality, certainly everything you're going to learn in this course is going to work, you know, pretty much regardless, with the possible exception of VimTutor. But hopefully you don't have to run VimTutor on somebody else's computer, because you learn on your own machines. You don't learn on other people's machines. That's amateur hour. Don't do that.